The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
In just a few hours, an appeals court will hear the Trump administration's request to overturn the restraining order that's keeping the National Guard from deploying to Portland. We'll preview that hearing coming up in our top story.
Plus, Israel and Hamas finally reach a peace deal, what that deal entails, and when it could be expected to take effect.
And we're also talking about holiday spending. At 7:45, we're going to get into it. Why experts say that you could be spending more this year for your Halloween costume and decorations than you've ever spent before. The Sunrise Show, streaming live at 7 o'clock, starts right now.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Corey Johnson in for China Green today.
And I'm Drew Carney. Hey, Chris and Rod, do you
Yes.
remember the day that I scared China Green, even though I told her I was going to scare her and she was still scared?
Yes.
I'm sure that wouldn't work with Corey Johnson, right?
Not a
Boo!
chance.
Nope.
Oh my God.
Wow,
That
he was ready for you.
Wow.
I braced myself.
That was impressive. Okay, so no scaring this one. We turn instead to Rod Hill.
Corey brings some toughness to
That
the
was
Sunrise Show,
impressive. I thought you
apparently.
got to jump. All right, Rod, let's talk about the Thursday forecast.
Hi, everybody. We've had some rain this morning along the Cascades. Earlier, some pretty good rain worked up through the Dalles and had some rain into Hood River. That, for the time being, has broken up, but there's still showers moving north up the Cascades from about Bend on. So far, the showers around this low offshore have stayed offshore. So all of that leads to the fact that it's been dry at the coast so far this morning. It's been dry here in the valley so far this morning as well. In fact, that is a blue sky over our state capital. That's just gorgeous. 44 degrees is the number. We have broken cloudiness here in the North Valley and up through Vancouver. Here's the Chehalem tasting room camera in Sherwood and sitting at 41 degrees. It does appear we will be dry all morning, so that includes, of course, your morning commute hours. 47 now, 59 degrees at noon. Mid-afternoon into the evening hours, we will look for a few showers to migrate across the valley later today at 5 p.m. 62, and again, probably some rain on the radar during the drive back home, but not much. Here's Chris.
All right, Rod, thanks for that. Let's get you out the door. A live look at the sunset. Tap of the brakes coming down the hill from the zoo into the Visitors Tunnel. That's one slow spot, and that's usually slow this time of the morning. Right now, you're commuting from Hillsborough. It's not bad yet. There's time. 20 minutes right now. I'll get you in from Hillsborough to downtown. 205 south. We had some bunching up here in the Gladstone area a couple of minutes ago. Looks like whatever was causing that hang up has flushed out, at least for now. So that's some good news. I-5 from Clark County, though, of course, this is going to do nothing but build over the next hour or so. That drive in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge, guys, that's jumped up to about 16 minutes at last check. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Let's jump into our top stories here at 7 o'clock. New this morning, Portland police say they arrested 4 people near the ICE facility yesterday, 3 of them for harassment. The fourth person was initially cited for menacing and released, but then about an hour later, officers say they arrested them for allegedly shining what was described as a powerful blue laser into a Portland police airplane. Police also say most of yesterday's protest activity didn't happen right in front of the ICE facility. Instead, they say it took place about a block away. Last night, our crew covering the protest saw police handcuff someone, but it's not clear if that person was one of the four mentioned in last night's arrest report. And in just a few hours, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will hold a hearing to once again address the deployment of the National Guard to Portland.
And that hearing is set to start at 9 o'clock this morning. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz is covering this story for us in South Portland. He joins us live near the ICE facility. Thomas, what's the latest?
Yeah, well, guys, this morning a three-judge panel will hear those arguments from attorneys for the state of Oregon and attorneys for the Department of Justice. That hearing will be live streamed, but it will be remote. And there's really one big question that the judges are tasked with answering. Does President Trump have the authority to send the National Guard to Portland based on the protests that we've seen so far? For weeks, President Trump has characterized Portland as being war-ravaged and tried to bring in the Oregon National Guard. When that was blocked, the administration pivoted and instead tried to bring in National Guard troops from California and Texas. That idea was also blocked by a federal judge who said the administration didn't show federal troops were needed in Portland. Now it's up to the Ninth Circuit Appellate Court to review that decision.
So I think the Ninth Circuit really is going to have to get into the details of whether the president has offered any evidence to back up his assertion that chaos and war are reigning in downtown Portland.
The three-judge panel will decide whether to uphold or reverse a temporary order barring deployment of the National Guard. Over the weekend, Judge Karen Emmerget, who is a Trump appointee, ruled National Guard troops could not be deployed here for at least 14 days. Both sides have also filed extensive briefs about this. The state of Oregon argues the deployment of the National Guard is unnecessary and unlawful. The feds say the president does have the authority to do just that, and extra help is needed outside the ICE facility. Each side will get 20 minutes to present their arguments this morning, and then they'll also have time for questions that the judges may have as well. Right now, it's unclear what a decision would look like or a ruling. It's also unclear when that ruling may actually take place. Of course, that's something that we're going to continue to follow throughout the morning and the rest of the day. Drew, Corey.
All right, Thomas Schultz reporting for us outside the ICE facility in South Portland. According to our news partners at NBC, talks are ramping up at the White House about President Trump invoking the Insurrection Act. White House officials say a decision isn't imminent, but the debate is currently centered on how and when the act could be invoked. The Insurrection Act is rarely used. It was passed in the 1800s, and it gives the president the power to deploy the military inside the U.S., including for law enforcement. The last time it was used was during the L.A. riots in 1992. In that case, California's governor requested the federal help. Meanwhile, current local leaders, both here in Portland and in Chicago, have firmly said that they don't need or want federal troops in their cities.
Well, Portland police shared information about a bizarre arrest they made earlier this week. Police say 36-year-old Nathan Khalil was wanted in connection with a disturbance at the ICE facility. Now, on Tuesday night, officers approached him near the Willamette River. That's when they say he hid in the bushes and eventually dove into the water, swimming to Ross Island. Now, police used canine units to track him down. Khalil is now charged with robbery and criminal mischief.
U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem was back at the White House yesterday. That's where President Trump held a roundtable discussion about cracking down on far-left activist groups, specifically Antifa. Secretary Noem accused Oregon's governor, Portland's mayor, and other local leaders of, quote, covering up domestic terrorism.
These leaders in these local cities, along with Pritzker and Johnson, ignore what's going on, or, sir, they're helping Antifa cover it up.
And in Portland, Oregon, Antifa thugs have repeatedly attacked our offices and laid siege to federal property in an attempt to violently stop the execution of federal law. Everything we're doing is very lawful.
Antifa, if you didn't know, is short for anti-fascist or fascism. President Trump recently signed an order designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. The group has actually long been considered a leaderless collection of far-left activists with members across the country.
Well, Timberline is warning about higher prices this season after a change in insurance coverage. The resort says its insurance carrier left Oregon on October 1st, forcing it to find new insurance, but at a much steeper price. Now, some of that extra cost will be passed on to skiers and boarders, specifically peak time lift tickets, Tier 2 season passes, and summer ski products. Now, there's no set date for when the season officially opens at Timberline, but it typically happens around Thanksgiving.
And this, of course, Rod, has me thinking, when is Rod going to put out his winter outlook?
Actually, I'm going to get my research mostly complete this weekend, and then it'll be a matter of seeing if I can come up with anything interesting out of all that research. But we'll have that for you the final week of October. Last year, one of the big headlines was we were correct when we said it was going to be a very early and very healthy start to the snowpack season and the ski season. Remember, we had a lot of snow on the ground by Thanksgiving up in the mountains, and we had a lot of snow on the ground all the way up through the Christmas, New Year's break. So we'll see what I have to say coming up here in just a couple of weeks. All right, right now, low offshore, showers offshore with it. We've been tracking these rain showers moving south to north up the Cascades, but the beach itself has been dry, and we've been dry in the Willamette Valley and up through southwest Washington as well. Here's Chinook Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City, 53 degrees, some broken cloudiness. And I want to show you this, clouds over the Mount Hood summit from Timberline. But that is a new dusting of some light snow down to about 7,000 feet, 38 degrees up there right now. We have broken cloudiness over Providence Park and the city of Portland this morning. 47 degrees is the number, 48 out of PDX. Hillsboro's been one of the cooler spots, 39. Again, we have breaks in the cloud cover and light winds. Dallas and Corvallis also in the 30s now at 38 and 38. Salem, good morning, 44 is your number. So later today, we expect a few showers to migrate through the Willamette Valley. Other than that, pretty much a dry day out east with partly cloudy skies and 70-degree temperatures. Could be some more showers later today in central Oregon and along the Cascades, but nobody's really looking for that much rain. The biggest chunk of rain has probably been that batch we've been tracking this morning running up the Cascades. So shower threat, a lot of you probably stay dry, 65. Tomorrow, different story. It's rain at times for all of us, Friday, Saturday, Sunday into Monday. And here is Chris McGinnis.
Rod, thank you for that. Let's take you down to Wilsonville. Here's your I-5 commute right now. Northbound traffic with the taillights starting to get a little thicker on that side of town as expected, right? We'll switch gears real quick. Door number 2 takes us over to the Banfield. This is out near Lloyd Center. Again, busier there as well. And last but not least, over on the west side, ODOT zooming in on what looks like maybe a disabled vehicle there. That's just west of the zoo on the westbound Sunset. Of course, the downhill commute, the inbound drive is a little slower at this time. Right now, 20 minutes gets you in from Brookwood Parkway to the Vistaridge Tunnel. Drew?
Chris, you know all about this next story. The Broadway Bridge is closing next week, and it's closing for 6 months. So Chris is going to come back after the break with a closer look at the bridge work and the detours. Also, a quick reminder that this is the United Way's Community Impact Week. You can volunteer with other people across Portland and Vancouver supporting local nonprofits this week through Hands On Greater Portland. That's the United Way's volunteer program. Sign up at unitedway-pdx.org.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Well, Monday officially marks the start of a 6-month-long closure of the Broadway Bridge.
Chris McGinnis has more on why the bridge is closing and the impact it'll have on traffic.
Starting at 12:01 a.m. Monday, October 13th, the Broadway Bridge will close to all cars, trucks, buses, and the Portland streetcar for 6 months. The closure is part of a $28 million bridge deck replacement project, swapping out the surface you drive on across the lift span. Crews will remove and replace the deck in small sections to keep the bridge balanced and able to open for river traffic. Speaking of traffic, expect a ripple effect across Portland's downtown bridges. The Broadway Bridge typically carries about 19,000 vehicles per day. As those drivers detour, expect commutes to be extra packed on the Fremont and Steel bridges especially. Monday's morning commute will be the first big test. Of course, the Rose Quarter plays host to dozens of concerts, shows, and sporting events at the Coliseum and Moda Center. The first test there comes Monday night with the Renee Rapp concert. While vehicles will be a no-go, the south sidewalk will stay open most of the time for people walking, biking, or using mobility devices. Meanwhile, for the few thousand riders that board the Portland streetcar on either side of the bridge, the streetcar will detour over Tillicum Crossing, combining the A and B loops into one continuous route through downtown and the Central East Side. TriMet's Line 17 will also detour over the Steel Bridge. If all goes well, the Broadway Bridge is scheduled to reopen on April 11th.
All right, Chris McGinnis with that update for us. Chris, of course, will be back here in just a few minutes with today's traffic. But Rod wants to jump right in to his Thursday forecast.
Yes, Thursday, very important. Let's go. All right, we have an upper level low offshore. Here it is. We've been talking about this. Yesterday, you could just kind of see it starting to develop. Well, here it is. It's developed. And as promised, it has started our rain chance. Now, so far today, there have been some frivolous, traceable showers out across eastern Oregon. We've had a pretty good band of rain that's been migrating south to north up the Cascades. This has weakened, but still holding together as far south as about Bend. And earlier, we had some pretty good rain that pushed through the Dalles and also Hood River. Futurecast doesn't show much other than that rain band this morning, which means we would be dry here in the valley and probably mainly dry at the coast. It does show that weakening band just kind of producing maybe some rain showers in places like Sandy a little bit later today. But here we are noon, and that little green speck is the end of that. Then there's a little wave of shower activity, potentially anywhere from mid-afternoon into early evening here in the valley. So if this is correct, most of us would be dry, and those of us that get some rain would just have probably some traceable amounts of moisture. This is expected, or showing that the showers offshore are expected to mainly stay offshore along the coast as well. Now, all of that changes overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Still looks like it's tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday that we'll have just wet roads most of the time, and we'll have these occasional pushes of rain coming through. This is 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, so getting into the morning commute hours, that's some heavier rain in Salem and the rain band pushing across Portland. Scattered activity later in the day. Here's another push of rain coming in Saturday. So altogether, this shows today through Sunday, through your weekend, generally about a half of an inch of rain to a little bit more than that at the coast and the valley total. But some decent rain amounts all the way out toward the Blues. There's LeGrand and Pelton each showing up with some measurable rain. I mean, LeGrand 76/100ths of an inch. Here is the Oregon Veteran Stone camera in the Dalles, a spot that was getting some pretty good rain just a couple hours ago. And you can still see some puddles on that sidewalk that are down at the bottom of the screen. Right now a rain break, but there are more showers to your south. So you could continue to see some rain shower activity at times coming through the morning hours. We're dry though, as I mentioned, here in the valley. Here is kind of a mostly cloudy sky over downtown Portland currently, but other spots say it's mainly clear, so it's really a variance. 47 is the temperature out at PDX, 46 Kelso. Salem's been reporting early morning clear skies, for example. 44 is the number for you. So our forecast for today Okay, here it comes. 65 degrees. Shower chance today, but really a lot of us see mainly dry conditions. The rain at times, though, fires up tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We may or may not squeeze in a dry Tuesday. Weekend temperatures only in the 50s. Chris, over to you.
Ron, thank you for that. All right, let's take you to the drive out of Clark County. This is I-5 up near Mill Plain. Normal slow and go action heading down towards the Interstate Bridge. It's not bad, but just to let you know, we're always watching it. About 17 minutes now, the commute time to get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Down to Wilsonville, there's your northbound I-5 drive heading up towards Tualatin. That too getting a little bit busier. And a quick check of the Banfield. Looks like we've got a disabled dump truck on the right side of the road here over near Lloyd Center. That's not really having a big impact on the drive right now, but the commute times are starting to click upwards here. Right now, the trip in from Troutdale at last check, 21 minutes. Corey?
All right, Chris, thank you. Well, Israel and Hamas finally reach a peace deal. Coming up in just 2 minutes, we'll have a look at what that deal entails, plus more of your national headlines when Sunrise streaming live as 7 continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Well, President Donald Trump says the first phase of a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas has officially been signed. Now, it includes releasing all the living hostages and remains of the dead, and for Israeli troops to begin withdrawing from Gaza. NBC's Alice Barr explains.
Celebrations across Israel and the Gaza Strip as word spread of a deal to free the remaining hostages from Hamas captivity in Gaza, pause the fighting, and see Israel withdraw its troops to what President Trump called an agreed-upon line. He spoke overnight on Fox News about a conversation with Israel's prime minister.
I said, Israel cannot fight the world, baby. They can't fight the world. And he understands that very well. So it's amazing the way it's all come together, and it's a beautiful picture.
That following dramatic moments during an event earlier Wednesday when Secretary of State Marco Rubio handed the president a note and a whispered message.
I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East.
The Israeli cabinet set to vote today on the peace plan President Trump advanced. Approval would trigger the pullback of Israeli forces, with hostages expected to be released on Monday, according to a senior White House official.
What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
Thank you! Family members of some of the remaining 48 hostages sharing their gratitude to President Trump and their determination to see the deal through.
We will not stop fighting until we see the last of the 48 return to their family.
20 of those hostages are believed to still be alive and would be the first returned in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and desperately needed aid into Gaza. Israel and Hamas so far only agreeing to phase 1 of a 20-point plan to bring a final end to 2 years of devastating war. The rest of the peace deal is even trickier, especially the requirement for Hamas to disarm and leave power, and of course, determining a future for Gaza, now in ruins. President Trump said he may travel to the Middle East as soon as this weekend, with peace talks ongoing in Egypt. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Here's a look at some other national and world headlines with your morning rush. Despite the update we just got from Washington, D.C., blasts were still seen and heard this morning in Gaza. Israel's prime minister says the ceasefire and hostage deal with Hamas won't start until it's approved by the Israeli government. To be more specific, the prime minister's office says the deal will take effect within 24 hours of the Israeli cabinet meeting that's set to take place tomorrow at 7 a.m. our time. Meanwhile, police in Florida arrested this man who's accused of starting the Palisades fire in California earlier this year. Investigators say he set a small fire on New Year's Day in the Pacific Palisades on January 7th. After smoldering for a few days, strong winds fueled the flames, sparking what became the Palisades fire. It's one of the most destructive wildfires in California history, killing 12 people and destroying thousands of structures. Today is day 9 of the government shutdown, with the IRS expected to furlough nearly half of its workforce. According to the agency's initial contingency plan, the department will remain open using funds from Democrats' Inflation Reduction Act. Only about 54% of IRS employees are expected to keep working during the shutdown. And that's a look at your morning rush. All right, this was one of our top stories yesterday morning, the massive fire at Pacific Coast Shredding in Vancouver. Remarkably, 24 hours later, that metal shredding operation is back open at the Port of Vancouver. The fire actually started late Tuesday night. It burned for hours, and firefighters had to work all through yesterday morning to put it out. Metro Metals owns the plant. It says a full safety and environmental assessment is underway.
The issue with metal scrap fire piles like this is just trying to get to the source while keeping everybody safe. Because it is a metal scrap fire, not just your ordinary components, we did request the hazmat team to come out here and help and give advice to help us extinguish this fire.
No one was hurt during the fire. The cause remains under investigation.
Well, 2 hikers who were lost in the gorge for hours have been rescued. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office says they called 911 around 10:30 Tuesday night, saying they couldn't find their way back. Rescue crews used GPS coordinates from a hiking app to find them near the Rock of Ages trail. Now, that trail has actually been closed and off limits since the Eagle Creek fire 8 years ago. A drone helped spot the hikers, who were found cold and thirsty, but otherwise okay. And coming up in our next half hour, why some businesses near Portland's ice facility say they're starting to lose customers. Plus, Halloween fun may come at a higher price this year. How much more shoppers are expected to spend on spooky costumes, candy, and all the decorations. Now, Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues right after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
We were coming up on 7:29 on your Thursday morning drive. We take you out to Gresham, live here near the intersection of Gleason and Kane Drive, Division and Kane Drive. Photojournalist Eric Patterson on the scene. A pedestrian was struck and injured near that crosswalk there. Gresham police telling us right now that person is going to be taken away to the hospital. No word on the extent of the injuries, but right now the intersection obviously blocked off at this point. All right, back to your freeway drive. I-5 from Wilsonville, a little busy, but not bad. Inbound Sunset now is up to 30 minutes or just shy of that to get you in from Hillsborough. Rod?
Thank you, Chris. We've been watching rain trafficking south to north up the Cascades all morning. There have been some lightning strikes in just the past 10 minutes or so along the range. You see them right there down in central Oregon. So that would be down around Jefferson, for example. Other than that, we are currently dry. We're starting off with a good bit of blue sky over Salem. We have broken cloudiness over Portland. Our temperature is 47. A dry morning for the Rose City. Some showers expected to come through the valley later today into this evening.
.30 half hour of the Sunrise Show on this Thursday morning, and we have some visitors to the show.
We do.
And they're not in the studio, but they are outside at the zoo right now, and we can see them by way of our Oregon Zoo Sky Cam set up there. We've got one. We've got two in the middle. We've got three over there on that rock to the, it's still kind of in the middle, but a little bit to the right. 3 mountain goats hanging out on this Thursday morning.
Do you believe they have named those goats? Seems like they name a lot of the animals at the zoo. What's your hunch on that, Mr. Carney?
I started thinking to myself, do they name them? But yeah, you're right. All the elephants have names.
Yeah.
All the primates have names.
We need to find this out. So
Also,
if they have names, we can call them by name, right?
They probably do have names that I don't know.
Also,
right.
Rod is notorious for asking questions you don't know.
That's my thing, Corey. I like it. Yeah.
We can name them.
People always say, oh, that's a good question. I'm not saying that.
But it would be nice to say, hey, there's Jake the goat, if they had names,
Let me
right?
text someone while you're doing your weather update.
Thank you, Mr. Carney. See, he gets to the bottom of these things. All right, we've got rain spinning offshore with the big low. We've been watching this rain crawl south and north up the Cascades this morning. Earlier today it was raining pretty good in the Dalles. Our live camera there is showing some puddles on the sidewalks. And we now have lightning strikes down around Jefferson that have been detected along the Cascades as well. Now, through all of that, the coast is dry and not expected to see much in the way of rain today. 53 in Lincoln City from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera. We have partly cloudy skies over downtown, and we are dry, and we are expected to stay dry this morning. 47 currently, 59 at noon. Shower chances start to pick up mid-afternoon into early this evening. Temperature 5 p.m. about 62 degrees. We do know our traffic reporter and our meteorologist name is Chris McGinnis.
Thank you for that, Rodney. All right, let's pick it up down in Wilsonville. There's your I-5 drive. It's the taillights. That's north of Wilsonville Road. We've got the normal slowing for the commute heading up towards Tualatin, and that's, again, typically busy this time of a Thursday morning commute. We'll switch gears real quick. Door number 2. Let's try that again. Door number 2 takes us to the Banfield near Lloyd Center. We're still moving along okay on that side of town. And door number 3, we're definitely riding the brakes now, coming down the hill from the zoo into the Vista Ridge Tunnel. This is perhaps our slowest inbound freeway right now, averaging about 31 minutes or so to get in from Hillsborough. That's from Brookwood Parkway to I-405. There you go, highlighted in red right now. Corey?
All right, Chris, thank you. Well, this morning, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is holding a hearing to determine if the Trump administration can deploy the National Guard to Portland.
Last week, a federal judge blocked the deployment of National Guard troops from Oregon or any other state to the city. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us live in South Portland near the ICE facility. So, Thomas, what can we expect from today's hearing?
Yeah, well, guys, that hearing is scheduled to happen at 9 o'clock this morning, and a panel of 3 judges will hear arguments from the state of Oregon and from the federal government, hearing both sides of these cases. Now, that hearing is going to be streamed, but it will be remote. It really boils down to one question that the judges will determine as well. Does President Trump have the authority to send the National Guard to Portland based on the protests we've seen?
I think the Ninth Circuit's really going to focus on whether the administration made out its case for the need to federalize National Guard troops to handle the protests.
For weeks, President Trump has slammed Portland as war-ravaged and tried to bring in the Oregon National Guard. That was blocked by a federal judge named Karen Immergitt, who is a Trump appointee. The president then tried to bring in the National Guard troops from other states. That idea was also swiftly blocked by Immergitt. Now the appellate court's 3-judge panel will decide whether to uphold that temporary order blocking the National Guard deployment or reverse it. Both the feds and state of Oregon have filed extensive briefs. Attorneys for the state argue the deployment of the National Guard is unnecessary and unlawful. The feds say the president has the authority and also add that extra help is needed outside the ICE facility. Both sides will get 20 minutes to present their arguments. That does not include any time for questions that judges may have. It's unclear right now what decision will come of this and when a decision will be made. Of course, that's something that we'll be monitoring all throughout the day. Guys?
All right, Thomas Schultz live for us there this morning outside Portland's ICE facility. We've also heard from some businesses near the South Waterfront who told us protest-related activity has really escalated in that part of town this week. Portland police blocked off several intersections near the ICE facility before Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem made her surprise visit back on Tuesday. The old spaghetti factory, just a block away, says customers and staff couldn't get to the restaurant. Other businesses near the ICE facility said they didn't want to talk to us on camera because they're afraid of becoming a target for protesters. One business did tell us that their building has been repeatedly vandalized since the protest started. You can watch the full story on this from Blair Best and our team at The Story right here on KGW+.
And Seattle's mayor has also signed 2 executive orders to fight back against potential Guard deployments. The first focuses on legal preparedness and coordination against unlawful deployment of troops. The second one strengthens services for immigrant and refugee communities, bans face masking for law enforcement, and prevents federal immigration authorities from using city property. The orders also direct the Seattle Police Department to avoid federal immigration enforcement and ensure peaceful protests.
20 states have put their support behind President Trump's order to send National Guard troops to Portland and other cities around the country. A brief was filed on the basis of these 3 arguments. Number 1, the brief says protesters are harming federal officers and property. Number 2, it says President Trump has legal cause to send in the National Guard. And number 3, it says blocking troop deployment could set a precedent for other states and cities dealing with similar issues.
And make sure to stay with KGW for continuing coverage of developments at Portland's ICE facility and as the legal case around the National Guard troops plays out. Now, we plan to stream the appeals court hearing live this morning at 9 a.m., followed by analysis from our team. That you can watch right here on KGW+.
What do you mean overstay?
An overstay.
I don't know what that is.
Where were you born? And don't lie to me.
I'm from California, dude.
Don't lie to me. Where were you born?
California.
Okay, so we're going to take you in and verify your
No,
information.
you're not, dude.
Yes,
No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
I haven't done anything wrong.
That new video right there shows the moments when a Milwaukee man who's an American citizen says he was profiled and detained by ICE agents while arriving to work in Portland.
His name is Frank Miranda. His lawyer says he was born in California and tried to show the agents his ID that day. Miranda's lawyer also says they took his phone, threw him in a van, and threatened Miranda. That's his attorney right there on the screen. He also told us that Miranda was held for several hours at the ICE building on the South Waterfront until the agents realized that they had made a mistake, and then they drove him back to work.
There was no apology. In fact, they were laughing and high-fiving when they threw him in the van, and they never gave him any reason for detaining him. In fact, the only thing they gave him when he left was a list of free resources for illegal immigrants, which he had no use for since he's an American citizen.
Miranda's attorney has requested probable cause documents from DHS to try and figure out how the mistake happened. So far, he says he hasn't received a response. We also reached out to ICE for more information about this, but didn't hear back.
Meanwhile, in Chicago, protests erupted last night over the deployment of the National Guard to that city. Crowds marched in the street as officials confirmed a small number of troops are now protecting federal property in the city. A lawsuit is in the works as well to stop the deployment, with a hearing set for later today. Now, this comes as President Donald Trump is publicly calling for the city's mayor and the governor of Illinois to be thrown in jail if they fail to address the safety of ICE officers. Those officials say they will not be deterred heard from standing up for their people. Well, Oregon's only Republican member of Congress is now calling for Democrats to end the government shutdown by agreeing to a temporary funding plan. Representative Cliff Benz says there's no indication the shutdown will end anytime soon, with Democrats refusing to agree to a funding plan, saying many people could lose health insurance coverage or see their premiums become unaffordable.
And that's really sad because the consequences of the government shutdown are bad. For everybody, and this could be easily ended if we had. I think we need about 5 or 6 more Democrat senators to vote for the clean CR, and then the government will reopen. People will get paid. The military will get paid. The air traffic controllers will get paid. TSA agents will get paid, and we can go ahead and talk about the issues that Democrats have in mind.
Benz says Democrats should agree to the current funding proposal, which would last until November 21st.
All right, we have some news from Tigard this morning. The city has a new mayor. Here's a look on your screen. It's Yikan Hu. Hu beat out fellow Tigard City Councilor Jeanette Shaw, who takes over the role after former Mayor Heidi Lube stepped down last month following an investigation into her workplace conduct. Hu issued a statement saying, quote, "As mayor, I am committed to restoring stability, strengthening trust, and making sure that our local government reflects the teamwork and respect our residents deserve." Who will serve as mayor through the end of 2026.
And taking a live look from our sky camera right now outside, our producer Michaela, remind me again what we're looking at currently. Which one?
Timberline.
Timberline. There we go. Beautiful view on this Thursday morning. We love to see that. And it's time for weather again. Rod Hill checking in with you about what we can expect to see for today.
Yeah, you're looking over the Cascades with those broken clouds where we have seen some rain this morning and even some lightning strikes down around Mount Jefferson. So far, dry at the coast this morning, dry in the valley. So for your planning purposes, this is noon. I don't think we have any rain chances this morning in Portland, Salem, or Vancouver. So the band of rain that's over the Cascades is expected to weaken and fall apart in the coming hours. This does show a lingering shower in places like Sandy, maybe even nearing Troutdale around noon today. That would be traceable amounts of rain. Then that fades away. Then there is a band of showers that would be mainly scattered action moving across the valley. This is at 6 o'clock tonight. So I really think everything points to the fact we will be dry this morning up and down I-5. And then mid-afternoon into early evening, we may or may not see a few scattered showers in the area. So maybe some rain, certainly not much today. Now that changes tomorrow. There's a wave of heavy rain coming in right from the get-go, 8 o'clock on your Friday morning. This is the Chehalem Tasting Room in Sherwood. Broken clouds, kind of mostly cloudy from this vantage point right now. 40 is the number, but then you get out into some other parts of the valley. Here are the Dundee Hills from Domain Serene Winery's camera, and there's not a cloud in the sky. So it really depends on where you are. Temperatures have been chilly out in Hillsborough this morning at 39. Beaverton and Forest Grove about the same, and there's Sherwood currently at 40 degrees temperature-wise. 44 down in Salem, 37 now down in Corvallis. So there are some chilly pockets. Bill's our KGW Dog of the Day. Sitting in the chair there, use the email address dogoftheday@kgw.com. Include your dog's photo and name. Your dog will become our Dog of the Day. Weather map for today. The rain bullseye has actually been this morning along the Cascades, and outside of that, while there are some shower chances, I don't think anybody really gets that much rain. So like I've been saying, today's going to be mostly dry for the majority of our region with a shower threat. Tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday to Monday, though, it's rain at times, some pretty good wetting expected. And that is your update for now. Here's Chris.
Hey, Rod, thanks for that. I want to take you out to Skamania County here, highlighting SR 14. There's about a 20-mile stretch of road where WashDOT's going to be doing some brush clearing over the next 2 weeks. And so what that means is that traffic in the vicinity of where they're actually doing that work will be alternating through one single lane. And that'll be from about 8 until 2:30 each day, again, for the next 2 weeks between, well, basically Carson and Skamania. So plan some extra time if that's part of your regular commute over the next, 2 weeks. All right, let's get you back to the west side on the Sunset inbound. There you go, out near Bethany Boulevard. Slow and go, of course. Coming in on Highway 26, there's the live look, and you can see all 3 lanes kind of puttering along there. The inbound Banfield also pretty tight through the Gateway District, as always. Drive times right now a bit elevated on Interstate 84. We're up to now 30 minutes to get you in from Troutdale, and it's 35 from Hillsborough to downtown. Drew?
Chris, I'm sure your little kids at home know that Halloween is just 3 weeks away.
They've been decorating since September.
Yeah, Halloween right around the corner. It's on a Friday this year, which is cool, but here's what's not cool. The scariest part of the holiday this year could be the cost for costumes and candy. Why prices are so high? Coming up when the Sunrise Show continues in 2 minutes.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Corey, I have a haunting Halloween headline.
Uh-oh.
Haunting Halloween headline. The holiday appears to be very expensive this year.
Well, that sounds like some spooky stuff right there. From candy to costumes, experts say prices are up and it's all due to tariffs. Now, Anthony Ramos went to talk to some holiday shoppers to see what they think about these high prices.
Creepy masks, decomposing decorations, and tons of candy could cost shoppers more this Halloween season, according to new data from the National Retail Federation.
I am noticing an increase in costs just all around Halloween.
The NRF recently releasing its annual consumer survey, finding that across the nation, Halloween spending is expected to reach a record $13.1 billion this year. That's up $1.5 billion from 2024. With each person projected to spend about $114. Some of the increasing costs are due in part to the ongoing tariffs on Chinese imports. According to the Halloween and Costume Association, roughly 90% of Halloween products contain at least one part made overseas, mainly in China. Some shoppers haven't noticed the impacts.
I think they're about the same. They're comparable.
About the same?
Yeah.
How much are you spending on average for Halloween?
About $40 for each child, so I have 2 kids, so about $80.
Others, like Fernley resident Caitlin Reyes, have noticed a difference.
I'm just buying these costumes. Makes me want to go home and just do something DIY for the family, you know? And also just trying to decorate outside. I want something that looks big and awesome, but, you can't really afford to do anything too fun nowadays.
For shoppers like Reyes looking for those DIY options, thrift stores like St. Vincent's in Reno may just be the best option, according to Lisa Ross with Catholic Charities.
Well, Halloween can be super fun, but it can also be very stressful for parents when they can't afford it. So we have brand new costumes for children, from babies all the way to adults. And maybe you don't want a whole costume, you just want parts.
For Reyes, Halloween starts the holiday season, and despite the cost, she offers a reminder to all.
Even if it costs a little more, it doesn't even matter. Just enjoy it with the family.
Again, that was Anthony Ramos reporting for us on this Thursday morning. We're not going to talk about the Halloween forecast just yet, I don't believe. That's 3 weeks out at this point. But we can. Okay, you want to do it?
No, I can't. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
What I really want to know is about today and maybe into the weekend. How about that? This weekend.
Oh, boy.
Oof.
If I don't see this, this is going to be embarrassing,
This
right?
is called your job, by the
No,
way.
I do see it. I see it. Okay. Whew, that was close. Upper level low offshore. Here it is. Been talking about this for quite a while. Yesterday, you could just start to see the circulation of the clouds coming together. But there it is, looking really good this morning. Producing rain around the low, I'm trying to say. But so far, everything has stayed offshore. The only inland rain we have had has been just channeling south to north up the Cascades. Earlier, some lightning strikes down around Jefferson. We've had some pretty good rain at times out in between Hood River and the Dalles and the Gorge. And there's some more spotty downpours. And some of this might produce some lightning as well. So this is the wet bullseye along the crest of the Cascades and mainly over on the east slope and moving up through the gorge. Otherwise, we are currently dry. Futurecast shows that band of activity falling apart by the noon hour, a lingering shower that maybe pushes over some of the western Cascade foothill areas like Sandy. And then there's a shower that does pop up anywhere from mid-afternoon into early evening. This is around 6 o'clock. So if this is exactly correct, what would this tell you? It would tell you that most of us probably don't get any rain today, and those of us that do here in Portland, Salem, and Vancouver wouldn't be much. So lots of dry time, no matter how you put it together in the forecast today. Different story tomorrow. Here's the first band of rain coming in right from the get-go, so that would mess with our morning commute with a period of some heavier rain pushing through the area. Rain potential for tomorrow through Sunday, still showing 1/2 inch to about 3/4 coast and valley, an inch in the Cascades, 42 and Henderson Bend, about 3/10 inch of rain showing up out in John Day. All right, here's Salem. Salem has been just beautiful this morning with mainly clear skies over the state capital. Still the case right now. Temperature is 44 degrees. Now you get out to the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha in Washington County. You can see some blue sky over on the west side of the West Hills, and that's leading to just some shallow fog down low as temperatures have fallen off, 47 degrees. But nearby airport is Hillsboro, and that one has showed a temperature of 39 degrees. Wow. All right, 46 up in Kelso this morning. Again, we're primarily dry right now, except for that rain running up the Cascades and out through scattered areas of the gorge near the east of Hood River. 35 and 36 in Baker City and Burns. Trying to get up into the 60s today, mix of cloudiness. So far, Salem, you're starting off with a lot of sun. That chance of a shower holding off until mid-afternoon or later today. Similar comments for Southwest Washington. Shows 67 in Battleground. So if we get more sun than we had yesterday, we'll be a little bit warmer. Yesterday it was only 60 out at the airport. I had forecasted 66. Thought we'd have more sun than we did. Tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday into Monday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's the real wet pattern, Chris, with occasional rain expected each day, sir.
Guess it's getting into the second half of October, so we expect that, right? All right, let's go ahead and get you out the door. That's not fun. That's I-5 through North Portland. We'll look at that drive time in just a second. Also running really thick, the inbound Sunset. Highway 26 now has spiked up in the last few minutes. We're now knocking on the door of about 40 minutes to get you in from Hillsboro. Meanwhile, over on the east side, this... Speaking of not looking fun, there's the drive underneath the Max tracks here on Interstate 84 westbound. So 205 onto 84 west. That's always a pinch point this time of the morning. And at last but not least, that drive from Clark County right now. Just shy of 30 minutes now to get you in from Main Street south to the Fremont Bridge. Corey?
All right, thanks, Chris. Also to come on Sunrise, a former Westland doctor is indicted on nearly a dozen charges. This after he's accused of sexually assaulting women and girls in his care. More details on the charges coming up when Sunrise streaming live at 7 comes back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
A grand jury indicted a former West Lynn doctor on 11 counts of sexual assault.
That's right. Alma McCarty has more details on the accusations against the doctor and why attorneys are calling the indictment a major victory.
According to a letter obtained by KGW, a confidential grand jury convened last week and after a day and a half of testimony issued an indictment that includes 11 felony sexual assault charges against David Farley. This indictment marking the first criminal charges against Farley, a former doctor who ran a family medicine practice in West Lynn. In a civil suit, more than 170 women and girls have alleged sexual abuse by Farley, who abruptly retired in 2020. The Oregon Medical Board revoked his license a few months later for, quote, unprofessional and dishonorable conduct and gross repeated acts of negligence. We spoke with attorney Courtney Tom in May of this year after a hearing in the civil case.
The strong women and children that we represent, and it's been a very extremely brutally long road, but they remain committed not only for themselves, but for the many women and children that have yet to come forward.
Alleged victims have fought for years for accountability and justice. In 2022, a Clackamas grand jury declined to indict Farley on criminal charges. And in 2024, the DA sent a letter to Oregon's Attorney General asking the state's DOJ to take up the criminal investigation.
That was Alma McCarty reporting. Now, as reported in the letter, Farley is expected to be arrested, booked, and arraigned tomorrow at the Clackamas County Courthouse. We reached out to Farley's attorney, but we haven't heard back yet.
All right, coming up here at 8 o'clock, a legal showdown just over an hour away. A federal appeals court will decide whether President Trump has the authority to deploy the National Guard to Portland. Also,
people have been displaced. They will be displaced for the next decade. And I want him to know that, how much people are suffering, how much suffering he caused.
A 29-year-old is now under arrest, accused of starting the deadly Palisades fire near Los Angeles. How residents of the Palisades are reacting.